A film swallowed by chaos, haunted by mystery, and buried in secrets uncover the dark truth behind David Lynch's doomed Dune. 1984, before Dune became today's sci-fi phenomenon, the 1984 version was a chaotic nightmare plagued by bizarre designs, on-set dangers, and ruthless Hollywood betrayals that nearly crushed its cast and visionary director. And here's where the story takes a chilling turn. Those black suits worn by the guild members weren't sci-fi costumes at all. They were actual body bags. Yes, the kind once used to transport corpses. Costume designer Bob Ringwood reportedly discovered them in an abandoned San Diego fire station. And with production deadlines closing in, the crew had no choice but to transform them into futuristic outfits. The actors, completely unaware, stepped right into them. Imagine shooting an epic space saga while wrapped in what once held the dead. That eerie stiffness in their movements, the strange lifeless aura, they weren't acting. It was the unsettling reality bleeding into the performance. Only after filming wrapped did the cast learn the truth, and the revelation haunted them. Picture the scene. Scorching lights, cameras rolling, and performers trapped in morbid suits they believed were high-fashion alien gear. That haunting authenticity seeps through the film every gesture, every shadow, carrying a silent echo of death and decay. One story that truly stands out is this one. Patrick Stewart didn't land the role of Gurney Halleck in the usual way. It happened by complete accident. When director David Lynch first saw Stewart performing on stage, covered in heavy theatrical makeup, a thick wig, and aged warrior attire, he mistook him for an older, battle-worn veteran actor. Lynch was stunned when Stewart arrived on set in real life, clean-shaven, youthful, and nothing like the grizzled soldier he'd imagined. His initial reaction was pure disappointment, but fate had other plans. Despite the confusion, Stewart delivered a performance that brought unexpected heart and gravitas to the role. What started as a casting mistake became a cinematic blessing. That single role not only elevated Dune, but also became the turning point that led Stewart toward his iconic destiny as Captain Jean-Luc Picard, a role that would define science fiction for decades to come. And here is where the narrative becomes beautifully embarrassing. Coming from a Shakespearean background, Patrick Stewart had little contact with pop culture. He therefore politely inquired on set if Sting was a member of a police band comprising actual law enforcement agents. Slightly amused, Sting said the Police were among the biggest rock bands in the whole world. The cast could not stop giggling. Therefore, the misinterpretation grew to be a running joke throughout filming. Still, from that funny culture collision between a serious British stage actor and a wide rock star, a real friendship bloomed in the burning deserts of Mexico. Amid disorder, perplexity, and creative pandemonium, the pair developed an unexpected friendship that survived long after the cameras stopped rolling. Here's a twist most people don't know. George Lucas personally approached David Lynch to direct Return of the Jedi. For almost any filmmaker, that's the golden ticket, the biggest franchise in the galaxy, with creative immortality guaranteed. But Lynch, ever the eccentric, politely turned it down with the now legendary line, "It's your thing, not my thing." Ironically, he leapt headfirst into Dune, a project he hadn't even read the book for. What followed became one of history's most infamous flops. While Return of the Jedi cemented itself in pop culture history, Dune nearly crushed Lynch's career. The failure was so personal, he swore science fiction forever. It's hard not to wonder what if Lynch had taken Star Wars instead. Actress Francesca Annis battled her own storm amidst that pandemonium. She was pregnant while working. She gave a perfect performance under scorching desert heat, several retakes, and a schedule that pushed everyone to exhaustion. She relocated her whole family to Mexico City for 6 months of shooting in an effort to make it work. Years later, she looked back on the encounter with comedy, remarking that it gave her a son born out of madness. Her pregnancy emerged as a rare ray of hope amid explosive sets, swarms of cockroaches, and emotional collapses. It was a gentle reminder that even in Hollywood's most turbulent productions, life still found a way. The Dune chaos almost killed me once. Francesca Annis, exhausted and expecting, disregarded warnings about a defective gas stove in her rented house. It erupted, flaming her hair and face. Amazingly, she lived thanks to a rare American burn treatment discovered nearby. Coming back to set with no eyebrows or lashes, her daily makeup regimen turned into a haunting reminder of the real dangers of the movie. Still, the nightmare grew stronger. Covered in rotting bones and corpses, one shooting location close to Mexico City, known as the Dead Dog Dump, made filming untenable as the odor of death lingered on skin, hair, and clothes. Crew members vomited, passed out, and battled to breathe in the smelly heat. Though wonderfully genuine, Arrakis's dead environment captured exactly Arrakis's desensitizing human cost. The set felt cursed. Then came the sickness that shattered morale. Over 1,700 crew members fell ill from Mexico's infamous Montezuma's Revenge. Food poisoning, power failures, cockroach infestations, and dead animals turned the production into a survival. Only one phone line reached Hollywood, isolating the team completely. David Lynch later called it one of the hardest shoots of his life, a fevered test of endurance rather than filmmaking. Amid the chaos, Lynch took one of his strangest creative detours. In Herbert's novel, Fremen warriors mastered the mystical, weirding way, a martial art of mind and motion. Lynch thought traditional combat would look silly on screen, so he invented weirding modules, sonic weapons turning voice into destruction. Fans and critics were baffled, and the book's essence was lost, symbolizing the film's creative and environmental confusion. And then there's Sting. His almost nude role as Fade Rautha became one of Dune's most infamous visuals. Initially meant to appear fully naked, last-minute studio panic forced the costume team to improvise a tiny metallic G-string overnight. The result was iconic, awkward, mesmerizing, unforgettable. Sting's otherworldly presence captured the production's chaotic, bold, and slightly insane energy, making his improvised costume the film's most enduring symbol. And then the budget crisis turned everything. Desperate to save money, producer Dino De Laurentiis pushed Dune to share crew and sets with Conan the Destroyer at Mexico's Churubusco Studios. Overnight, the picture changed from a sci-fi epic to a sword and sorcery fantasy. The same people, the same cameras, even the same sand. Chaos grew habitual. Lynch's vision was disappearing, as crucial people and supplies were always taken to Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie. Originally a smart plan to cut expenses, what started as a creative chokehold grew. Exhaustion, budget policies, and studio intervention all caused Lynch's great schemes to fail. It was a full-scale collision of creativity and control, rather than only money versus art. And one of cinema's oddest Easter eggs, David Lynch himself, dressed as an uncredited spice worker, lurks buried deep amid all that mayhem. Unless you knew precisely where to look, you would never identify him. He would be buried beneath many layers of desert gear. Symbolism, not vanity, was at work here. That blink, and you'll miss it, cameo became a ghostly mirror of his experience, present but powerless, the specter of a director viewing his dream go wrong. For fans, locating Lynch in Dune feels like discovering a secret confession, a mute witness, trapped within the very turbulence he struggled so hard to control. Then followed the economic freefall that doomed Dune. Though it gathered only $31 million at the box office, the film cost a mind-blowing $42 million more than Star Wars. Universal and Dino De Laurentiis had envisioned a great trilogy. Virginia Madsen had already signed on for 3 films. Rather, their dream vanished overnight. Critics ripped it apart, viewers left perplexed, and Lynch's career suffered. Hollywood left Herbert's books untouched for almost 4 decades. The failure was so great. Fans did not see what a realistic, ambitious adaptation may actually look like until 2021, when Denis Villeneuve's Dune made its way to theaters. That $10 million loss grew to be much more than statistics. It became an ageless caution against unchecked ambition, bad timing, and the severe cost of artistic mismanagement. But here's the part that truly haunts film lovers. Lynch's original cut ran over 4 hours, his complete vision of politics, mysticism, and madness. The studio, panicking over length, butchered it down to barely 2 hours, erasing entire character arcs and political intrigue. Universal then added clumsy voiceovers and forced reshoots, only making the story more incoherent. Losing control of his masterpiece devastated Lynch. He later disowned the film entirely, calling it something no one should ever see. That lost 4-hour cut became the stuff of legend, a cinematic holy grail whispered about by fans and historians alike. Even today, people still wonder what Dune could have been if David Lynch's true vision had survived the studio's blade. And here's a secret that even hardcore fans missed. Those breathtaking shots of Caladan's coastline weren't filmed in Mexico at all. They're from Ireland's rugged Dunlicky Castle coast. The production quietly hired Apogee to capture the stormy cliffs, their wild beauty contrasting perfectly with Arrakis's endless deserts. For years, few realized these hauntingly lush scenes were Irish, a hidden gem that gave Dune a global depth beyond its troubled set. Behind Dune's colossal downfall lies one of cinema's most fascinating legends, a film born from chaos, courage, and unrelenting creative rebellion. Every frame hides both disaster and brilliance. a haunting echo of ambition that burns too bright. Decades later, it still captivates fans, not for what it achieved, but for what it dared to attempt. If you love uncovering the wild secrets behind Hollywood's most troubled masterpieces, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more hidden stories buried in the sands of cinematic history. A film swallowed by chaos, haunted by mystery, and buried in secrets, uncover the dark truth behind David Lynch's doomed Dune. Before Dune became today's sci-fi phenomenon, the version was a chaotic nightmare plagued by bizarre designs, on-set dangers, and ruthless Hollywood betrayals that nearly crushed its cast and visionary director.